can't leave you out.
Go ahead. You did a good job.
Time to do some reading the next 2 days and be able to give feedback then.
Most of the videos are the same, so you can just watch one and you'll kind of have it down.
These are the ones on Facebook?
Yeah, on the government Facebook.
Okay.
A lot of people of color attend public schools. We deserve to have good schools across the board.
As long as they are able to maintain the quality of teaching that's done currently, then I think it can be a success, hopefully.
Hey everyone, so I'm Maya Plastic from Media Maya. We're outside of Linda's right now, but we're going to be talking to some people about the Parish Primary School consultations, whether or not they read it, when the deadline is, if they care about it, if they're informed, things like that. Some of the points that we're going to be talking about today are about, the decline in enrollment, inequity about, money going through all the schools and whether or not everyone actually is getting the same amounts, and things like aging facilities, parish schools, the curriculum, teachers, additional support, just some reasons for the whole closure. As you might already know, they're trying to move primary schools back from P1 to P8 now, and then going on to trade schools. And within all of that, obviously the phasing out of middle schools altogether. So I'm going to help to inform a bit and also to see what the people of Bermuda already know.
So I can't remember how long ago it was, but I remember seeing a printout of the enrollment rates for the different primary schools and like how it's reduced over the years. So I don't know if that's what's encouraged the government to have this reform.
For the most part, the stats show that once children go into middle school, those enrollment stats go down, like the numbers go down, but then they notice that it goes back up in high school for some reason. So it's like parents take their child out of middle school, maybe they do homeschool, maybe they go away or something, and then they come back, and then the high school ones increase. That's why they're trying to think, well, maybe that's a decision. And also some of the reasons was because decline in enrollment, and then inequity, meaning that the financial resources are currently spread about 18 primary schools, and they feel like it's kind of unbalanced as well. Have you read the primary consultation?
No.
Do you plan on reading it?
Yes, I should. Seeing as I have a kid myself. So,
okay. Yeah. Do you have any concerns? Have you heard anything that that's going to be happening yet?
Well, I've heard that some of the schools that are being shut down are the highest, better performing schools, and there seems to be a lot of concern about that.
It's not so much in the public school system. It's not necessarily about the level of education. A lot of people just seem to just follow tradition. Like, okay, my mom and dad went to West End, so I'm going to go to West End. That's what the biggest problem in Bermuda is. Instead of just sending based on who has the best education system or who has the most successful testing results, you know what I mean? That's what I feel like Bermudian parents need to start to look at rather than just following a tradition. But I think that's where things have become a bit, I don't know what the word is,
normalized?
But yeah, for people heading towards their schools, you know what I mean?
The reason why they want to change from 18 primary schools to 10 is because they feel like money isn't being used equally across all the schools, and some of the buildings are being kind of decrepit, and a lot of people think that phasing out the middle schools and going back to the trade schools is the better option. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, given the environment they're in now, I guess government is looking for different ways to save money, and it's sad that wastage in the school system will cause them to have to reduce schools.
I'm interested to see how they're going to, because I know they want to make the school in each parish, and the transition to that I'm interested in, and the thought process behind it, because when they first started talking about it, I remember they were saying that some schools have higher standards of education, I guess, than others, and some students were receiving, I guess, less than acceptable services, or however they described it. But I felt like maybe there could be a less taxing way of making sure that students in lower performing schools get the education that they need. Maybe some kind of skill sharing or professional development for teachers that's focused on the areas that need more improvement, and also finding from the teachers themselves what ways do they need support in order to bring it up to where the other schools are.
Right? Did they speak about going back to the primary and high school levels, right? And scrapping middle school altogether.
So primary is going to be from P1 all the way up to P8 now. P8 now, yep, all the way to P8. And then you go into to be the high schools, whatever they decide to make them. What type of schools would you guys like to see?
A hands-on type school, electric, electric,
Yeah,
plumbing stuff.
Plumbing, you know, every trade should
Yeah,
come back in.
to
You
be
know what I mean?
incorporated into the education system.
And that's probably the most controversial point, you know, because why was it taken out in the first place?
Right.
You know, a lot of Bermudians come around and seem to think, a lot of black Bermudians would tell you, you know, it's controversial because it was so successful, you know what I mean?
Right.
You have so many young, successful black
They
Bermudians.
didn't have to go away and pay dollars.
Exactly,
dollars
you
for
know what I mean?
education and just
You want your homegrown talent, you know what I mean? If you can keep people on island and have them highly trained, you know, why would you get rid of a facility like that? But, you know, if they're looking to bring it back, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be nice. What's it called? Tech?
Yeah, technical institute.
Yeah, they're trying to make it like a whole lot of different ones. So like ones for the arts, maybe ones for dedicated to sports, ones dedicated, you know, all the type of things. They're trying to get the public's opinion right now. It's like, well, what do you guys want type thing. That's what the government's trying to get from the people.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think there seems to have been plenty of engagement and consultation. So hopefully it'll be a positive outcome for everybody.
They want to do enrollment by parish. How do you feel about that?
To be honest, I feel like as long as the education is fair and what the students are receiving is fair across the board, then I don't think it should be an issue. I know a lot of people, you know, try to work around that because they don't feel like their children are getting the education and the services they need from the school that's in their parish or like in their area. So I know a lot of parents that would, you know, try to find ways, you know, using other addresses of family members so that they can get their children into other schools that would work better for them. And I do notice that like a lot specifically for parents of children who have learning disabilities and behavioral disabilities as well, they want to get them in schools where they feel like they'll be better served. So I feel like as long as that's being equally addressed across the board, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, they're actually using I think it's Elliot and another school in the same parish in Devonshire. They're using both of those schools and they're transforming those into schools for students who need, you know, the extra help, the extra resources and everything. And also as another, because even though they said by parish, they also have that one as another alternative for parents who want their children to learn in a different atmosphere and environment. So they're gonna like use those two schools, Elliot and the other Devonshire school, to revamp them for like charter schools and schools to help. And then they're gonna do a whole new school for Devonshire. So they gotta rebuild a whole school for Devonshire for the parish. Do you know when the deadline is for the community to give their feedback back to government?
I do not know.
Want to take a guess?
I imagine it's coming up imminently. Next week at some stage.
March 12th, yes.
I'm going to say before the next academic year.
What are you?
Before the next term ends, I would say.
When is it?
March 12th is the last deadline to give.
Next Friday, right?
Take a guess?
Okay, let me see. We in end of March.
Oh, this is March 12th.
Oh, so next week then. Next week then.
When do you think that they're gonna actually have this in place?
I'm not even sure what to think about the timeline. I think it's gonna be a little while because it's a heavy project that they're taking on. Like, you know, you gotta move children around to other schools. It's also looking at the actual like curriculum and how that's structured with each of the schools and making sure things are equal. So I think it's multiple levels, not just like physically building, but like the programs for the schools as well. So I'm sure it's gonna take like a good few years to really get things going. But I'm interested to see them get started. It's been a long time coming with this, and especially like as a person of color with dealing with the PLP and the history, you know what I mean? And knowing that a lot of people of color attend public schools, we deserve to have good schools across the board, no matter what community or what part of the community we're coming from. So I'm looking forward to seeing like these changes that are being made.
Thank you everyone for watching. I'm Maya Palacio for Media Maya, and thank you Derek for taking this video and doing all this work for me. Really appreciate it.